So one of the differences between a modeling tool such as ours or platform and a diagramming tool is with ours, you do start with a diagram, but you then layer on information in the form called enterprise objects. So enterprise objects are just digital representations of things within your organization. So as you can see here, they could be people, they could be systems that are supporting a process, they could be things like products coming in and out. They can even be a bit more abstract. So you can document things like strategies. You can have things like performance indicators that are coming in from another system, such as a banking system. You can have requirements. And what all of that gets you is, aside from just consistent documentation, is it gives you the ability to report. So you could say, for example, this is a very simple one, but it's one that I know a lot of organizations struggle with. Where do my systems come into play? So I want to take down my DocuSign system. What processes does that touch, right? Because otherwise, typically, it's a fishing game, and you got to go and find all those areas that it could take 2 months to do, or they might just say, well, let's just take it down and see who complains, right? So with this sort of modeling platform, you can get ahead of that and have everything documented, run a simple report and see your risks, for example, or see all the people involved in the various processes. So that's one of the huge advantages over just a simple diagram tool. So this particular example is customer onboarding, right? I'm sure you're all familiar with it. So the process is a customer comes in, right? You have to decide, are they a customer, right? What kind of request is it? Are they a customer? If they're a customer, bam, they go to the end. If they're not a customer, right, then they have to go through a series of checks. And so that's what's documented here, right? There's an exclusion list check. There's more screenings after the fact. There's some middle work right in between. And then if they hit a yes hit, right, in any of those kinds of screenings, it's going to take this long path, right? It's going to say, okay, well, now somebody really needs to look at it and take their time. One of these two: case or control action. In case any of you aren't familiar with process mining, so process mining is where you take a log from a system, or usually multiple electronic systems. You give it to a process mining platform, and it spits out what's called this process map. The process map allows you to manipulate and analyze the data so you can gain greater insight into the process. So this is another way you can go about discovery. The advantage of performing discovery with process mining is this is exactly what's happening, right? This is not idealized. This is a manager saying, well, these 3 steps should happen every time. I don't know if they do or not. This is the data, right? This is exactly what has happened. A little under 17,000 cases that we ran through. So, and to just give you a quick overview of the stats up top. So up top, we have average duration of the cases. That's also known as cycle time. Those two are synonymous. Concurrency just means when 2 or more tasks are happening at the same time. Then lastly is rework. So that's when a particular activity has occurred more than once in a single transaction. One of those things you generally don't want to see, and you want to ferret out. So in the case of process mining, here's my discovery. I still need to understand the process. So if I'm coming in blind, never worked in financial services before, right, I'm still going to be a little bit lost. Say, well, I can see this takes the longest, but I don't actually know what it really is. So if you had gone through this step and then you go to process mining, it wasn't a waste of time, because you still need to know, why are all these things done? Right? Why do we have 3 checks? It's required federally. I can't just cut these screenings out to save time. I have to do that. So it's still critical that you do understand the process, but it can get you quicker to, okay, what is actually happening? What are the actual